Yo, 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 yo. What's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Mr. Weedman and Big Earl with the Grow Hour. Big Earl, my brother, how the hell are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How are you?
I'm great, brother. You want to know why?
Why?
Because we have our friend Alebrije in the house tonight. Alebrije, my brother, how the hell you been, man? It's been a year.
It's been a while. Yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks for having me back. It's always good to hang with you guys.
I love it. Love to have you back on the show. It's fun. And we're talking with Alebrije, and we're going to be chatting today about basement breeding. It's going to be a fun show. We got a lot of great content. But before we go into the show, let's smoke. And Alebrije, tell us what you're smoking on today, my friend.
I'm vaping at the moment. I'm vaping a little bit of Sunny Chihuahua, which is one of my new strains coming out. It's
Chihuahua?
All my strains are always like the combination of two animal creatures with the Spanish name. So Chihuahua is the shark Chihuahua, which is very much inspired by my own little Chihuahua who runs circles around me in the morning as I'm preparing his breakfast, and he shows me his little fangs, and it reminds me of this tiny little Chihuahua shark. And it's just so much energy, and that's why I named it for this strain. It's a very good daytimer, very relaxing, but gives you a lot of energy, and it's a good get shit done kind of weed.
A little sativa action going there, huh?
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, is this this strain you're talking about? Is this how is? Let's go back a little bit.
Yeah,
you do autos,
correct.
Auto fems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
is this an auto fem?
This is a feminized autoflower. That's correct.
Okay.
The parents are High Strangeness F5 from Running Gardens, which that's the mother, which is his it's a coastal Oaxacan landrace with Romulan and Northern Lights that he converted into an autoflower. Took it 5 generations. Super sativa, had a lot of pine and things going on. And then I pollinate it with my Tangy Rainbows, which is my Rainbow Guava number 5, and Tangy Tibuguana, which is very tropical, fruity, funky, raunchy, kind of also in the sativa realm. And so it made this nice, very gassy, very citrusy and piney kind of hybrid. It's got extremely old school vibes. It's very foxtaily. It looks like an old school strain, and it smells and hits like an old school strain. It's a ripper.
Especially when you brought up the landrace part of it too. I got excited there for a second.
Yeah, like some of those old school genetics really bring a lot of old school vibes to some of these new school strains. And it hits with the gas and the lemon and the pine. It rips.
I like it a lot. Big Earl?
There's definitely like an old school vibe to stuff, because we redid when we brought back that green crack. That's what we grew it out, and it was almost, I'm not gonna say it was insulting, but everybody said, "Oh, it reminds me of weed back in high school." And the weed I got in high school wasn't as good as the weed that I'm used to smoking now. And so I'm like, well, wait a minute. Does that mean it's not good as like most of the weed I'm pumping out?
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. My buddy who I got that from, that the green crack and the lumpas, he said, because I'm 53. He's in his 30s. So back then, I mean, weed was getting a way better back when his 30s, back when, so he said it brought him back to high school. The green crack as soon as he smoked these, I felt like I was in high school again.
Dude, it was good. It definitely had that quality to it. With the autos, when you go sativa or you go landrace, do you find that they take longer, like with the photos?
Honestly, sometimes yes, but in this case, no. This one does the Tangy Rainbows side of it, which I've been working on for the last 2.5 years. It actually is a little bit slow in veg, which is I've been told is a good thing, because in flower it like stretches like crazy and blows up, but it still finishes in the 90-day time range. And
nice.
I've had 5 different people test this one, and I've told them the range is about like 85 to 90 days, and it does get really nice sativa uplifting effects. But a couple of the testers, one in particular, homie Ganic, he took one to 110 days, and it was killer. I've had the pleasure of trying it, but it's a knockout. So it can like totally go the other direction if you take it too long. It can, put you on
Interesting.
your ass and you can be
Yeah.
falling asleep like crazy. But if you err on the 85-day side, it's very nice, uplifting, anti-anxiety, and like great for just getting stuff done during the day. But
Love it.
Yeah.
so
Nice.
yeah, the
I
sativa effect in an autoflower time frame package, I would say.
Sweet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Figure
I
out what
took
it
us off track. I'm smoking the, platinum lemon cherry gelato.
Mm.
I have been I don't know if you guys smoke blunts ever.
Yeah, of
The,
course.
Backwoods, bro, has come out with these new city ones. They got, like, New
Hmm,
Orleans, Houston, Atlanta, Chicago. Those might be the only ones I smoke,
That's
but
brilliant marketing, honestly.
yeah, it is.
agreed, but the flavors on them, like, I haven't had really like, a flavored cigar or anything for a long time. The, uh, Atlanta one, I think it is like this grape, and that Devil Driver grape, weed man, and I've been smoking
Mhm.
those together, and it's been maybe, like, the grapest combination.
Wow.
I rolled one of those too, but this one is the, New Orleans is a Banana Foster.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
nice.
different.
Ye
I'm
yeah,
an old school grape White Owl guy, so when I smoke blunts, so I understand what you're saying on that
dude.
one. So
You'd like Atlanta. And then that's Houston. One of them, Atlanta, I think is grape, and then Houston, I think no, Atlanta is the peach, and Houston is
Oh,
the
That would
grape,
make
and
sense.
makes
Chicago's the
makes makes a
sweet.
lot
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
but they're all super good. If you guys anybody out like the new Backwood limited edition, here I got this one with me right now. They're super good. If you guys get a chance to see them or try them.
Backwoods, you should throw us a shout out now that we threw you a shout out.
No doubt.
That was a straight up plug. I love it, Earl. So I'm smoking OG Kush. It's phenomenal, Earl. Just so just legit. That's all I got.
That's
It bought me back a hot minute from when I tried OG Kush back in the day, and it's does the job
so
perfectly.
we were told that's the Josh D OG. You know, everybody's got their opinions on it for sure. But I was also told that the Josh DOG and the Olympus headband was the same cut.
Hmm.
And I don't like whatever I got then, either whatever I got wasn't real, like the original, or that's not true. So I'm not really sure because they were different. The OG Kush and the Loompas, I grew them in the same room. They're different, the ones that I have. So,
All I know is
but
it's
they're fire.
fantastic. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. The smell, the taste, the high, whoo, so delicious. So
Yeah.
you told us a little bit about your latest cross, Alebrije, what you just did, but any other crosses and what's been your favorite lately?
I had kind of like a small drop game planned this year, and I've only done three total, including the one that's coming out. So back in March, I dropped. It was called the Great Corgifante, which was our corgi elephant hybrid. And it was pure Michigan auto from Twisted Trees with my Dogathon, which was a Star Dog Marathon OG back cross.
Huh.
And that one turned out great. It was super frosty and fruity, but really like earthy, chocolatey tones. And it was just a great heavy hitter, very chill strain. Love that one. But and then we just did a little pop up in Chicago, and we released the Chi-Town Toroso, which was the bull bear. Had to shout out Chicago with the bulls and the bears.
Home
Uh,
team.
no doubt. And that was the third generation, the F3 of this Star Crunch from Night Owl Seeds, and my original dog walker, which was my Star Dog photo period, converted to Autoflower. And that was a great one. That was like the freebie from my very first drop. So just this Tuesday, we actually just hit our third anniversary from our first drop. And
Yeah.
that was
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. And it was our 14th drop within these 3 years. So I finally brought that original freebie back and then bred it a few generations further. And
Huh.
I'd gotten a lot of great feedback over on that one for the first few years. So it was nice releasing another version of it, another more stabilized version of it. But I would say my favorite is the one that's coming out last, the Sunny Chihuahua that I was just mentioning. I like it because
I
A,
love the name.
it just brings these, like, great terps, and, I do like that gauntlet effect where you pull it a little earlier, or maybe you, like, have a little lighter dose, and it's a great sativa daytime strain, but if you push the harvest a little past maturity, or you take a couple fat bong rips, it can put you to sleep. So it's one that's it's versatile, and again, it just has this, like, old school heavy hitting terps that, who doesn't love,
Who doesn't love those terps?
right?
I found that with Death Star a lot. I don't know if you grew that out, but Death Star, so I grew it and I pulled it at like 10 or 11 weeks, and it wasn't really like ready to pull, but it was like 10 or 11 weeks, and it was great. But then I had a buddy be like, "Oh, the real Death Star, you got to take it like 13 to 15 or something." And so I was like, okay. So I ran it again and took it all that extra time. And I didn't notice a very big difference, other than maybe it was a little bit more like on the bat on that longer one. It was more of a downer.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
I
I don't know if that
mean,
makes
yeah,
sense.
you gotta imagine that, some of the THC is degrading into CBN, and you're gonna get a
Yeah.
little more sleepier tones, and some of those
Which
more.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, no.
No,
I
dude.
mean, I'm one of those people who I don't choose a narrow leaf or broadleaf. I think they all have their time and place during the
Yep.
day,
Yeah, yeah,
and so, yeah, I like one that I can, have a little bit of versatility with if I didn't have as many options in my head stash.
yeah, yeah. That's the biggest thing. It's hard to get high off that same. Like if I smoke a whole ounce of something, by the time you get to the end of that ounce, like it's harder to get high off. Like you're using all the same cannabinoids, you're using all the
I
same everything.
I'm
Yeah,
switching. I don't smoke the same strain every day. I'm smoking a different strain. And
same.
maybe if something that I liked that knocked me to sleep, I might smoke 2 days in a row, but because and listen, folks out there, we're growers, so we have a great selection. When you one day get to home grow and you're growing 3 or 4 plants with 3 or 4 different flower, you're gonna have 30, 40 different strains, 50 strains in your closet. And so the variety to me, when I used to be a gym rat way back in the day, someone taught me variety is the spice of life. In the gym, in food, everything you do. Variety is the spice of life. The same thing with weed. If you get a variety, even if you go to the dispensary and you pick up 3 or 4 strains, don't smoke that same strain every day. Switch between the 3. If you got a daytime one, a hybrid for the midday, and then one for the night, you got 3 different strains you're smoking. Just don't smoke that same strain for 2 weeks straight. I'm just telling you, it's just gonna be like you're like, "Oh, man, what the hell happened?"
Yeah, strain tolerance is real for sure. I
Mhm.
mean, before we got into regularly growing, my wife and I, we would typically buy like an ounce a month. And, it was great when you first get it, the first few days of the new strain, or it's hitting fantastic. But by the end of the month, you're not hardly feeling it. You need
Right.
4 times as much to feel the same effects, and,
Yep.
and then, you get the new strain a few days later, and you're back to,
Mhm.
happy
The
life.
spice of life, that variety.
It
Spice of life. And wow, yeah,
100%.
Dabs
hold
too.
on, hold on.
If you take a
Yeah.
lot of dabs, like when you get into dabs heavy and you're like, man, I can't get high anymore. Switch over to some weed, smoke a joint. You'll be high as fuck.
Yeah. It's amazing how the receptors can, just pick up
Yeah.
on tiny little nuances, and it makes for a
Yep.
completely different experience.
Yep.
That's why
Absolutely.
I'm an auto guy and just a seed popper in general. I mean, I love a good clone, but I need constant change,
Yeah.
constant diversity, and
Yep.
constantly new things. And there's always some favorites I like to go back to, but I'm
Oh,
always
yeah.
just wanting
Absolutely.
something new, really.
Yep. I wanna try the
What
new thing.
what's on the docket for you after like what you got some like something that's your eye on that you want to like cross over to the pollen?
I have a lot of projects in the works already. This one I was currently working outdoors this summer is a collab project with a buddy, the terp therapist, and he took my Chem labrata, which is a very broad leaf. It was a marathon OG with my dog walker. It was the preemptive strain to that dogathon, which was then the back cross. But he crossed it with this purple Pakistani Chitral Kush from Bodhi
Oh,
seeds, And, again, I'm always into, like, going after some of these more land racy, meets some of these more modern, genetics. I think that makes for really great combos and pulls out some who honestly knows what little minor cannabinoids and minor compounds are coming through, but again, I like to, like, reach outside the existing gene pool, especially in the autoflower gene pool, trying to, diversify. As we were just talking, the spice of life. It's this very much the same in genetics, and the more diversity you can bring from strains and land races around the world, the more options and who knows what little chains will unlock, little doors will unlock along the way. So yeah, I've been this summer I worked that I made the F2 seeds. I grew out. He made the F1s. I sent him the seeds. He used his male of this purple Pakistani Fichal Kush, and I grew them in 1 gallons. I started off with like 24 plants, and it had been a while since I had grown outdoors, and we were talking a little bit pre-show about growing outdoors and how awesome it is, and it's very different from a breeding aspect
Uh-huh.
because I had the assistance of nature, and nature ended up making most of my selections because it was a rough summer, and these were all in like 1 gallon fabric pots, and this was about 30 minutes out in the country from me, so I wasn't getting out there every day, and in July, we had, like, no rain. It would be, like, in the 95 degrees 4 or 5 days in a row, and I went out there and, tons of them were toast, but I ended up having 4 survive through all of
Huh.
this. They went through some very intense days of drought and heat stress, and so these 4 survived. 3 were more on the narrow leaf side, but 1 had the very, like, broad and beautiful Pakistani kinda leaves I was after, and, also brought some really nice lavender colors in the buds and some skunky, funky floral terps.
Hell yeah.
And so, yeah, that I'm glad that was one of the ones that survived, and then in their final weeks, it poured down rain, and not a speck of mold or bud rot or anything. So it was great using nature's help in some of the breeding work. And so now I've got these F2s to run and search for the autoflower trait this fall, which I'll do indoors. But it's nice knowing that they have that outdoor strength within them and in the genetics because it's definitely. I'm always getting asked like, how do these do outdoors? And most of the time, I say I don't know. I'm very much an indoor grower, and I'm down here doing work in prohibition land, so I can't always grow outdoors. And yeah, I wish I could, but here and there, I make ways and find ways. But it was a fun project for me, just seeing a lot of that stress resistance, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, very cool experience.
Yeah. Outdoors dope. They're in pots outdoor? That's hard. In
These
pots,
were
I feel
yeah.
like it's hard outside. Um, it's so, like in the ground outside is different, but in pots is, that's a hard thing for sure.
Yeah, these
But
were 1 gallon pots, so it was really hard to keep them on, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I knew they were super strong because the soil would be just bone dry after 4 days at 95 degrees in 1
Yeah.
gallon. It
Yeah.
was like they were they're very, very strong, hardy plants,
Survive.
so it's again, I'm sure, like, out in the mountains of Pakistan probably has some pretty hot, deserty days and, pretty dry times, I'm sure, so it was seeing some of that, you know, genetic strength come through.
What it's used to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few years ago, I, started out, like, got, like, warm for a week early, and I was like, "I'm doing it." And so I threw some autos outside, right? And I just had this little 5 by 5 bed, and I put, PVC pipes over it and put some plastic over it. And, it was right by my, mini split AC, which blows out warm. And I was like, "Okay, this is gonna, like, hit my tent, I'm gonna be good." And I threw some different autos out there, and it was almost the same kind of process. A lot of them didn't make it, and the ones that made it were like they started flowering at like 8 inches tall because it was so cold. They got so cold for like the next like 3 or 4 weeks, and so they were like there were so little when they started flowering, but in that same aspect, I only got like a few hundred seeds from all of them. But it was like, I know these guys can at least like they're cold tolerant,
Yeah.
so dude, it's a brilliant way. If you go through a few years there and you hunt down everything, okay, this is heat tolerant, now I'm taking us to a cold tolerant, now I'm taking us to a drought tolerant or whatever. That's how you build. That's that real breeding going on right there, you know?
It's very true, and, you know, the Sunny Chihuahua that I mentioned a few times already, I was fortunate to also test it out there this spring, and it also had a really rainy March, as they were finishing up these big, fat, swollen colas and 100% humidity for over a week, not 0 mold, and I wish I could say that for all the plants that were out there, not the case. But yeah, it was a great way to, you know, I try to stress things indoors. I try to, you know, put them through a rough time, but they're always gonna be somewhat babied. They're in an indoor climate. It never gets that insane.
Yeah.
So seeing what real Mother Nature can throw at them and that they can withstand makes me very confident that, you know, I can tell people those aren't gonna get mold. Like, they literally didn't get mold sitting in full rain, 100% humidity for a week. So,
Yeah.
you really messed up if somehow you were able to get yours to get mold, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. You gotta pay attention a little bit, but, like, yeah,
right.
exactly. Yeah. Um, we should talk shit about Instagram just a little bit. It's a thing we do, anyway, but, I was when we were chatting, you're like, "Hit me up on Discord," and I looked at your Discord. And it's super cool, dude. You have, like, a really fun community, it looks like. There's a lot of fun, like, games going on, and it's way more than seeds, which we all know you do, like, the pottery and coffee and everything, but it's all on there. All the Save the Dogs, it's all on there.
Yeah.
Um, it's
I gotta
cool.
follow you. I'm on Discord. I've been on Discord for years. I gotta get your handle when
I
we close
I'll
out the
definitely,
show.
yeah, I gotta send you the
Yeah,
link, and
yeah,
anybody listening, it's, there's the Discord icon on the homepage of my website, alebrijegenetics.com. You just click on that link and it's automatically invited.
nice.
Um,
That's really
but
cool.
yeah, I kind of like gravitated away from Instagram a little bit. I still have an account and I'll still pop on there and share things every now and then, but I'm trying not to be on there daily. And, you know, I'm posting a lot less plant content specifically because the Instagram is just sort of against all that. And they've been
Yeah.
deleting. I've had multiple accounts deleted before. Yeah, and Mr. Weedman is gone, and everybody's getting the axe left and right lately. So it's just,
I'm not going back. I think I've been off Instagram now for I think a year now or close to it. I don't even. I told you earlier before we started the show. I do miss certain things about it, but I am fighting the man right now, and I refuse to start another account to have it. I will. I am done. I am done giving my time, my energy, and all my content to that app for them just to kill it.
yeah,
I put 5 long hard no, since 2019 till last year, hard ass content, 7 days a week. Always made sure I posted, did exactly what I followed the plan. There is a plan if you want to succeed, but
yeah.
and I would I hate them. I fucking hate them. I won't I refuse to go back. I refuse. Maybe one day I'll go back, but I don't know. I just I miss it, but I don't, you know.
I've said the exact same thing that you're doing, that if I lose another one, that would be my 3rd account gone, that I'm not gonna do it again, you know, I'll bow out at that
Yeah.
point, you know, because, yeah, why, like, we are their product, they're just trying to sell us, you know, advertisements and selling using us as product and just selling our
Mhm.
data to other people, so it's like, if you don't want me on there and you don't wanna make money off me, then fine, you know?
Right.
Uh, uh
I moved over to LinkedIn,
yeah,
cannabis friendly. It's kind of cool. My network is I think 90% people in the cannabis industry, growers, whatever, whoever. And we're all on the same page on shit. And I very rarely, I don't pay for the premium, so I don't get all the full access bullshit. Was kind of bullshit, but I have 6,000 connections and I love it. It's all people in 90% of the people in the industry. I love
yeah.
it. I get to see fucking no one fucking, you know, I'm not really posting much on there. I post my episodes. I don't really post like I did on Instagram. I just don't, I don't know. I don't know if I don't want to get banned again. So I just kind of just post the show and just like people's stuff. And that's all I do. I'm done. I'm done. This is my content. If you want to hang out, listen to the shows that we do, and I'll answer any fucking message you message me on YouTube or Spotify, whatever our show. I'll answer messages and talk to people. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't. I like Discord, but I go in there to game, so I don't really. I would love to start a bigger following and just have people jump on with me and fucking game with me all night. I don't talk weed when I Discord. I game hard.
Well, and that's what's so new to me is learning that it started as such more of a gaming
Oh yeah.
platform. But cannabis is really shifting into it because of the whole Instagram
Yeah.
issues and things, and what's so great about it is it's much more of, like, little mini communities, and it's
Yeah, I
people
just wish you could
chatting.
record on it. I wish you could record on it. Like,
Yeah.
'cause I wish I
You
could
used to
record on
could,
there.
actually,
Yeah, I wish you could record like audio, video, like when I would do a show on there live and record it to see how it comes. But I love Discord. I need to get more people to come hang out with me on Discord. I usually go on my son's and hang out with him, game with him all night. I did a 4-hour fucking Marvel Rivals fucking run last Friday night, 4 hours straight, just didn't move, just fucking. I'm a game. I'm fucking super nerdy, but I
Nice.
love Discord, and
I
I
love it too.
apologize. I apologize. I haven't joined yours. I don't have a lot of friends on Discord actually.
No, I'm gonna send you the invite so you come join
Yeah,
us.
I wanna hang out, man. Like I said, I game, but like I said, I come in if you're doing a live, come in and join and hang out and listen. I love learning. I think Discord's great. If it's used correctly, it's fucking a wonderful tool,
Yeah.
and they don't fuck with you,
Like,
you know?
for example, every September, we do, a can of bonsai grow along in our Discord, and there's a specific channel within, my server that you go to, and, everybody posts their little pictures there as they're growing, and it's so much fun to watch, and, it's nice that it's organized like that, because if you're just on Instagram, you may miss it here or there in the
Yeah.
feed,
You
but
don't miss anything because it's your
yeah,
feed. You
yeah,
don't
here
ever
you
miss yeah, it's
yeah, you just go
great.
right to the channel of what you're
Mhm.
interested in talking about, and
Yeah.
yeah, we
It's a great tool
Or
to use for the
any
cannabis
strain you're
industry.
interested in seeing, I think that's badass. Like you can go, you can see how other people's turned out before you buy anything, or but if you have it, you know exactly. You're like, and you say, I want a grape one, a strawberry one, and a Kush this round. You can go and oh, these guys are getting a lot of strawberry pheno. Okay, I'm gonna run some of these. Oh, these guys,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
The help
it
in
allows you.
the talk, and as long as you're doing it, like I said, respectfulness to me on social media is a big thing for me, and like as long as you're respecting people in the group in the chat and saying bust balls is fine, but don't. That's what I like about Discord. You control it.
Oh, mine is very
Yeah,
friendly,
yeah.
respectful environment. I've banned about maybe 4 people in the 3 years of doing it just
Dude,
because they
people get
weren't being
wild out
respectful,
there,
and
dog.
but
There's
I'll
no
do
there's no
it in a heartbeat.
there's
If
no
you're
need
not
for
being friendly,
negativity.
you're out,
Yeah, there's no
like
need for negativity. We're all here for one reason only, to love the plant, learn about the plant. You know what I'm saying, and free the
yeah,
plant so we can all have this access to grow. And do it under without the scrutiny of the government fucking arresting us to be able to grow our own shit. So that I do love it. I do love it. So tell me something. Tell me something about the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. I heard you got a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown fucking
yeah.
farm out there somewhere, and I'm ready to see the Great Pumpkin. So
Well,
if it's your pumpkin farm, I got to go to find the Great Pumpkin, Alebrije, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in.
no, so it's one of the fun things we do in our Discord is that it turns out we're all a bunch of plant geeks and we go beyond cannabis. So again, like the Canna Bonsai channel, we have a pepper grow along in the summers. We also do a pumpkin grow along every summer. And so, no, it's not just me. It's anyone that wants a pumpkin. We try to grow the like giant pumpkin size.
Nice. What's the biggest one you got?
So last year we're on year 2, so this year hasn't completed yet. But
Yeah, yeah.
last year the winner was Johnny Apple with 152 pounds, and it was a freaking monster. And the pictures were amazing. It's all there in the Discord,
Holy
which is awesome
shit.
that it's all captured and documented.
He's the Great Pumpkin. Then I want to meet him.
And
Johnny Appleseed. I
he's
want to meet Johnny
looking,
Appleseed.
no doubt. He's up in New York, and he's a good one. He's looking like a strong contender for this year as well.
Wow.
I'm
Hell
going
yeah, I
2
love
years
it.
in a row with my pumpkins didn't make it. I had some deer issues this year. But I got some butternut and some other winter squash at least
There you go.
harvested. But yeah, it's always just
150-pound fucking pumpkin.
yeah,
The
insane.
professional pumpkin growing type thing, I don't
It's
remember
big.
where I read it at, but it was a huge push for mycorrhiza. I read that like mycorrhiza is like a huge thing that to get big pumpkins. I think it was Jeff
Interesting.
Lowenfeld, maybe one of his books, and he talked about it a little bit. But these fucking pumpkins, you have to get the right seed. You can't just like grow a normal pumpkin giant. You have to get like a giant pumpkin seed. But they're wild, and like the people to get them that big, you have to like rotate them, and like it's not just like throwing them in the ground and letting them go. You're like adding beneficial fucking fungus, making sure the food's on point, like
And you're
400
cut
pounds.
on the single vine, you're cutting off any other potential pumpkin, so the plant just gives all this energy to this one. You're really
Yeah.
after this one
Lollipopping
prize.
that bitch.
If you let 2 or 3 go on the same vine, you might end up with a few, 40, 50 pounders, but you want that big daddy. Yeah, you just sort of like put all your eggs in one basket and go for it.
Nice. Big
Yeah,
Earl, baby.
that's
Hey,
cool. Yeah.
this talk Big Earl's gonna be doing right now with Alebrije. Hey, I'm gonna sit back because I'm not gonna be talking probably for about 15, 20 minutes because these two are gonna school all of you right now and give you some knowledge up here for the brain. Take notes, learn well on this one. The education is key. I always talk about education is key on my fucking mission statement. Education is top 4 right there. So Breeding in Your Basement by Big Earl and Alebrije. Then they're gonna take you into pollinating one plant in a larger room. And I'm stoked for this talk with the two of them going back and forth because we got 2 professional breeders here. I know Earl calls himself a pollen chucker, but he's a breeder.
Nah, he's a
So
breeder.
I know. So take it away, fellas.
I do prefer the pollen checking. Yeah, it's so in your base, I know. In your basement, really there's 2 different things, right? Because like, are you growing plants down there or are you not growing plants down there? If you're not growing other plants to like flower out down there's not like a lot of different shit, right? You just grow them, you flower them, clean up in between, make sure you spray some water when you want to kill pollen in between runs and stuff. But if you're trying to flower out some plants, sometimes like, you got to do some stuff right. You can't be just like all willy-nilly. So for me at least, it's about air control and then being disciplined on where I'm at and when, mostly. I don't know, Alebrije, if you have autos. I love having this chat with you because autos are a little different. Autos are so much about timing compared because photos, yeah, it's timing at a certain point, but you can kind of like do your thing and be like, okay, I'm gonna start my timing. Where with autos, like you pop those seeds and it's just got to go how it's got to go, or because it's fucking going.
Yeah.
That's a quote of the century.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I think sometimes autoflower breeding doesn't get quite enough credit to the difficult, nature of timing compared to photo periods. It is, you are on the clock and you do have to just sort of roll with what you're given. But once you kind of gain some experience points and you've learned about the timing, and again, every strain can be a little different. But once you kind of like figure out a general plan, you can use that timing to your advantage too, to what you were talking about, and trying to have some tents be flower and some tents are meant for seeds. So yeah, you can have little windows which can help you a lot in the auto world, and you don't need to keep a male around for an extended period of time necessarily. So if you did your timing right, you can pollinate your seed tent before your flowers are even fully flowering, and while they're still in their veg period, and then you get rid of that male just as your flowers, your autos you're growing for flower are entering flower. So yeah, you can use it to your advantage and avoid cross contamination, which is what I tend to do. But there are definitely other techniques to help damper down, as you were mentioning, airflow.
Yeah. Yeah, I try. Avoiding if you can avoid 100% cross contamination while growing in the same basement. I mean, unless you got a giant basement, I guess, but in a normal basement, while like you're like killing it. Because like the pollen is such a bitch, and it takes like one rip an event, or at least for me. And but I'm maybe stupid about it because my tents that I breed in are literally like 4 and 8 feet away from the door that you know, so I could separate it better that way, but it's just like not set up for it.
Uh,
But
Sorry.
very rarely, but it fucking happens. When people say it, I'm like, well, enjoy it because that's probably the pollen from this male and that's probably this cross, and you might have one of the only seeds of it. Or save it for me, please.
Exactly. No, I'm the same way. So I'm working in 6 tents total with both my seed projects and just my own personal flower. Fortunately, all my flour is just for my own and my wife's consumption. So if there is a seed here or there, it's not the end of the world. Nobody's barking at me or anything. Um, but again, yeah, that's the last thing I want. I don't really want seeds of what I was intending to just be flour. So there's other little tips and tricks besides just timing and scheduling. One of
Yeah.
which is every day when I'm watering my plants, I do all the flower tents first, and then the pollen tent is last.
Yep.
That's one
Timing.
great way to just avoid any pollen on your clothes or fingers. Getting into your flower tents. So
Hmm.
that's one of
Yeah.
the simplest but very effective methods that it took me. It seems obvious, but it took me a little while to learn, and took some experience points to learn.
Dude, hand watering every day is hard. When you were talking about pollen, I I run a reservoir to them. I was like, I'm not opening this freaking tent every day. I was like, so I just ran a line all the way across I was like, this is just, and so I open the tent weekly when there's pollen present. But like I said, like it does happen for me. So um your protocol is probably on fucking point. But if you can't water automatically, uh, which I haven't before, larger pots I found helped me a lot. Like if I didn't have to, like trying to cut my watering back, which is hard with cocoa or smaller pots, or like with autos, sometimes I try to control my timing with my pots. So sometimes try to cut, like if I'm like, okay, I'm cut for time here or whatever. I've tried to flower out in like solo cups and stuff just to like be like, okay, I want these to flower like today.
Yeah,
So, and and it works pretty well. You don't get like great yields. Flour probably isn't as good, but if like I'll just like pop autos sometimes up throughout my veg just to like fill space. I might as well get like, even if it's just a few ounces, it's a few fucking ounces.
yeah. Why
Um,
not?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, you can store the pollen, right? So you can grow one male and do a few projects off of him. Frozen pollen gets a long ass time, even room temperature. If you're keeping the humidity out of it, gets a little while, like a few months for a lot of people. Um, but yeah, you can grow a male and then grow your females too. Which if you're really worried about pollen being places you don't want it to be,
That
you know.
that's a great way to go. One of my original projects, the one I mentioned, the dog walker, which was a star dog photo period,
I
and
just want to bring it up real quick. Dog Walker is so fire too. If anybody hasn't had a opportunity to smoke Dog Walker, it's an older strain. People don't know much about it. But everything I've had that has been cross, BX, all of it has like this particular it's like this, like it's old school. It's not like a gas, but it's not like a funk. I don't know. It's just fire. It's just a very good. So sorry. Keep going.
no, and I may have there may be some confusion too that mine is what I call the dog walker, DAWG walker, which is Star Dog photo period from Top Dog Seeds. It was a cutting that I got from a friend back in 2019, and I hit it with Skywalker OG autoflower
Okay, I see.
pollen. And so I use the name the dog and the walker. So it's not that dog walker that you're referring to. Which at the
Cool.
time when I looked up names and was trying not to copy any, I think that one is spelled DOG Walker,
Yeah, you're
standard.
right.
And so I made a. Granted, the star dog is spelled DAWG. And I come from down in the South where the dogs are. Yeah, I use the DAWG spelling just to sort of differentiate. And it, I try to throw auto on there when I'm, being
Yeah.
politically correct and giving the full title, making sure that everybody knows what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
my dog walker auto was one that when I took it, and it was the F3 generation where I did a lot of crosses with it, and I saved a lot of that pollen in the freezer and did many crosses later on with it, and it held up really well. it is all about just keeping that pollen dry and as quickly and as cool and as dry, and not using your hands and contaminating with oils and things. So as sterile and precise as you can kind of keep it. But I pretty much just like pluck off the little anthers out of the pollen sacs, put it instantly into a little tin with some desiccant beads, and I'll let that dry for a few hours, and then I'll instantly run it through a little tammy or a little
Hmm.
sifter and remove any big pieces, and sort of just try to have it just be the pure pollen and powder, and then I'll put it into little vials with more desiccant packets and into jars with toasted rice to store in the freezer, and that's worked out for me sometimes. But other times, I do find that, you know, a true regular male pollen tends to hold up a lot better than a reversal, a feminized
Mm.
pollen. And I don't know if that's just the nature of just like the true regular male. It was just a stronger, you know, pollen, or I couldn't say. It would just I wouldn't be speaking scientifically, but I have found that to be the case in some of my own breeding work, honestly.
Yeah,
Nice.
wow, that's interesting. That would be interesting to know why that is. That'd be they, but yeah, that's, dude, with I'm just gonna go back to our shitty, I'm high as hell, just smoking our last blunt.
we
Let's
on
go
that
back to the
time. We're on
timing.
that timing is big.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Well,
following Earl. You took that rip off of that fucking backwoods, the last one you took, dude. That was a monster fucking rip. I was like, oh, he
yeah,
be
man.
high. He gonna be high as fuck.
Yeah, man. Um, yeah, the timing is huge. The time so let's say you get your timing down, right? What what really when you have other plants, maybe we can go over kind of what it looks like when you have some other plants down there. So there's for me, I do it 2 different ways. I will collect my pollen from a tent, turn off all fans, turn off everything, um, cover if I'm going into, like, a larger room, right? So sometimes I will have my male just separate, and I'll have my flowering room, and I'll just pollinate, like, branches. Um, so I'll turn off every fan. I cover branches that I wanna pollinate with a plastic bag usually, but I just something non-porous. I spray my room, I take my pollen, make sure fans off is huge, blocking it when you're walking is fucking huge. Is pollen a little drift, like, can be it's not gonna be like a million seeds, but it'll have, like, some seeds in your weed, you know? But if everything's wet, hopefully that when because a little bit's gonna go somewhere, hopefully that can be done. I pollinate, I cover that branch back up, um, and then sometimes I'll even spray again. It really just depends on what's going on in my room if I can cover that humidity. You don't want things to be wet for too long, but you also need to give this pollen like 6 to 8 hours, like some time to get like associated with the flower before it gets wet itself. Um, but yeah, then when everything's done, you give it its time, everything's done. I like to give it one last spray, remove my bag, start turning off fans, you know, maybe low at first just to help with my airflow, get some of the humidity out of there. And then eventually, maybe after a day or something, spray everything, or maybe like 14 hours or something, spray everything again.
What
And
do you? Let me ask you a question because maybe I missed it. What are you spraying it with? Water?
uh, I spray with just straight RO water.
What's
Uh,
RO water?
just like clean water with nothing in it, a
Re-
zero
Okay.
zero
reverse
uh,
osmosis.
Just for newbies
reverse
that are
osmosis.
listening
Yeah.
right there. Reverse osmosis. Okay.
Yeah, especially if it's my flower room because I don't like to spray in my flower room. So, like, I don't want, like, RO water alone, clean everything, like, my pumps and stuff real good because I'm rarely spraying just RO water and, but another way when I do a full plant is I have my male in my tent, and I like to bring a plant into with it and give them a little conjugal visit and, put it in there for a day, take it out for a day, make sure I, like, spray my surroundings. Every time I'm working with anything, I'm spraying my surroundings with water. Um, but yeah, those are my 2, 'cause the full plant coming in is easier, but it's not as like, when I can just do a branch sometime, like, in especially like to test out a cross. Like, is this going to be fire or like not that fire? Or, um, I've done 20 strains, gotten 30 seeds of 20 strains, and it's like a lot of it's just for me to play with. And if that's what you're like, if you're not selling seeds really, you're just doing it for fun, like, it's a ton of fun because then when you know the moms, you kinda know what to expect, and you can, like, see it, and then you start growing those out, and you get a few generations deep with it, you get so many different fucking crosses. But, what about you? What are like,
Yeah,
how are you?
on that same note, like, when you're just home breeding and especially if you're trying to, like, work multiple projects at once, one thing I just a little tip I've found and mistakes I've made was, always do the same type of seed run at the same time. What I'm trying to say is, like, if you're gonna do a feminized auto flower project, don't simultaneously do a regular photo period project at the same time. Because then if you do have cross contamination, you're gonna have real issues, and you're not gonna wanna really grow the seeds or give them to anyone because you can't really
Yeah,
accurately say if they're gonna be autos or regulars or feminized or it's a bit of a
yeah,
jumble. So if you do wanna work multiple projects at the same time, maybe if you're doing feminized autoflowers, do a couple different feminized autoflowers, in different tints. And then if there is some cross contamination, not ideal, but at least they're still feminized
yeah,
autoflowers, which I've made that error before, and it costs you a whole seed run basically because once you've contaminated something, you can't accurately say what it is. Then it's a real shame.
yeah. And it's
So
literally one wrong move. Like, it's like,
right,
"Oh, shit. I forgot my IPM today on my watering. I'm gonna hop back," and, like, it is especially if you're not used to the breeding, all of a sudden you hop back in the wrong way, or you didn't shower or change clothes, or, like, it can be something as stupid as that, um, and all of a sudden it's like, it's easy. It's
yeah,
fucking easy,
yeah.
but
But, say, like, especially if you're just doing it for yourself, and you maybe had a few different autoflowers you wanted to convert or, reverse, then you can just use the same STS spray and use 2 or 3 different tints and operate all these, and again, like, you wanna try to prevent any pollen contamination going into the other tints, but if it were to happen, they're just for you, and it's not the end of the world.
yeah,
So yeah, that's just a little note and a tip. But, no, I agree with you. I like to I typically in my protocol and programs these days, I'm doing mostly feminized autoflowers, and when I start spraying, my schedule is I start on day 10 to 12 of the autoflower's life. So there are no real branches at that point. It's a very small plant, so I'm always spraying the entire thing, and I'm always reversing the whole thing. So I'm getting what looks to be a full-blown male, although it's a reversed female. Because when you start that early, you get out ahead of its sexual cycles, and it starts, inhibiting that ethylene before it's even producing ethylene to start forming female flowers, and so you almost get what looks like a true male expression. But in that time frame, you start spraying on day 10, then by around day 30, you've got some fully developed sacs, and within another week or so, you're dropping pollen. So just knowing that general schedule helps a lot in how you can guide your other flower projects at the same time. I would typically start the seeds for autoflowers just to flower out, like 3 weeks behind I starting that seed project, essentially. And then I'm gonna have a nice little window where I can be pollinating, all my seed tents, for about a week, 2 weeks maybe, just before the others in veg are starting to show pre-flowers, and then I can ditch that male and kinda move along. Because I tend to make sure that my females are in the tent and they're in that Guy Fieri stage, they have that very, you know, electric white pistils everywhere, very pom-pom-esque, and, I make sure that they get hit with the pollen. I'll usually, like, actually pick up the plant and, like, dust all of the plants. I kinda, smack them around a little bit. I'm making
yeah,
sure they get well hit and, that all the pistils are turning, like, pretty orange brown within 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours. Once I know everything is really well pollinated and they were at like a good phase, sometimes I'll take that male outside and just kind of like keep him around for a little while just to make sure before I ditch him in case anything didn't actually start forming seeds or anything. I still keep him, but I like to get him outdoors and out of my tent zone. And then at least at that point, I feel like there's not much. Yeah, I do a spray down with water and make sure there's not a lot of pollen flying around. And I've learned schedule wise how to kind of time, and then my flowers will start going. So I'm always needing to run flower tents simultaneously with breeding projects because I have a lot of seeds I make, and I need a lot of testing going on. So I'm doing a lot of small plants these days and constant turnover of tents. So it is important to just sort of learn your schedules and learn what works for you. But autoflowers, they can be tricky, but once you kind of learn how to work with them, you can kind of use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, outside's a big tip with you, especially with autos, because as long as they can stand the weather out there, any time of year you can throw a male outside. And so, like, I've almost cheated in that way. Although I don't know if you've ever frozen pollen, but I read that it can last up to a year, and so I've tried that on some pollen that I had outside. I collected it, threw it on rice. I have like a dude, what works really good, I don't know how you sort your pollen, but the trim bins that, like, you
Yep.
trim over that sorts keef, oh, man, it works so fucking good.
Yes, that's
Um,
exactly what I've used before too.
dude, it works so good. It's wild. It's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, I need to know you have 2 branches on there, like, I don't need any more pollen. Like, this is the whole fucking little bit, like, it works really well. Anyway, um, I threw it in the freezer and I used it. It was a few months, but I didn't get any seed. I didn't do I fucked it up, because it's like time and time again online, people are getting freezing them like a year out of it.
Yeah.
So,
No, that dog walker F3 generation, it was at least a year later that I went back and made more crosses with it, and it was totally viable and successful. And that was a feminized, pollen. It was a reversal. So again, it's not
yeah,
always the case that maybe the regular holds up better than the feminized, but I have had a lot of failed feminized pollen storage. So
yeah,
again, there's a lot of factors. It could have been various moisture contamination or just high humidity in the air or whatnot. But it is a good method to. It's worth giving a test as long as you're going through the process of keeping a male or a reversal. Yeah, totally save some
yeah,
pollen and try it out later because yeah, it is nice making seed without having to have a full blown male plant in the room. It definitely goes a long way for not cross contaminating things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hell yeah. No, agreed. Yeah, outside's a fun if you can do it outside, it's a fun place to be with the males. Um, without the freezer even, people so like you said, I've had a lot of my failed pollens because I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't get to that pollen yet," because I had some other male sitting there. And I'm like going to my little I keep a lot of them in a flower bin separate, like all separated, and they're on rice usually in a little flower bin that you can kinda like do a little suction out of. Um, and some of them cold and some of them not cold depending on what I'm doing at that time. But, I would say a lot of the time I use that pollen though, I get nothing out of it. Um, but there are some times where it's like, yes, yeah, so, um, I'll have to talk to you about storage because it has to be the, like, humidity or something I'm not getting out of there first is all I could think of.
Same.
Good
I live in a very high humid environment. That's all I can think is that like, oh, even just sometimes the ambient general, not even on a rainy day or anything, it's in the 70s, 80s%. And it's like, oh, is that just a little too high of moisture that it's kind of contaminating it? But yeah, it's hard to say specifically, honestly.
Yeah.
But I use the little desiccant beads. I'll cut up into little packets and, store it in little plastic vials, and that I feel like small surface area, not having a lot of air, so in the freezer, it's not turning a lot of oxygen into, condensation or anything. Yeah, you just try to do every little thing you can,
Yeah.
to reduce air or oxygen or moisture or light or heat. Those are all
Yeah.
the things that are gonna be your enemies for storage.
Sweet. I
Definitely.
love it. Gentlemen, I appreciate that. Great stuff there. But here's one for you. I love this one. Why do we need to support accessible breeders or fucking do it ourselves?
I'll say because I'm a little worried at the state of the direction, that our government is taking cannabis, and the thought of it moving to a Schedule 3 really seems to put it more in the hands of the pharmaceutical companies, and we all know how they like to jump on things, and yeah, it would not be a good sign for the home growers. So I think it's great that we have such a strong community of home growers and home breeders, honestly, people that are not out there trying to make and sell seed, or excuse me, try to sell seeds as a company or anything. They're just out there making it for themselves. And so I do that's what gives me hope for the future of this country and the world in general, is that, we do have a lot of these great genetics backed up within people's freezers and, various storage bins and stashes and vaults. So yeah, it's really great to support, these small time breeders who are putting in the time and effort. It's not free. It costs a lot of money to run soil and nutrients and lights and water year round. So yeah, it's great to support your small time breeders and your friends who are just making seeds.
Yeah, it is.
Throw 'em a few
I love when
bucks.
I love when my friends give me some seeds,
Yeah,
and then I give them some of the booty when
yeah.
I'm done with
That's
it.
that's as a breeder, that's one of my favorite
Yeah.
trades. I love giving seeds for some flour or for some
Hell yeah.
rosin back from it. It's
Yep.
it's a
It's the way this world should be, barter and
total
trade,
total
you
bargain.
know?
Yeah, love it.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
tell
No,
us
fuck
where
yeah.
tell us about your Discord, and I know Instagram. Tell us where we can find you at, your website, and tell us what you got coming out, like your run that's gonna be coming out soon too.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at alebrije.genetics, and my website is Alebrije Genetics. That's Alebrije genetics.com. Um, and on there, you can find the link to my Instagram, my Discord. I think I even have a Reddit page somewhere. Um, and the Discord has become great because Instagram was all about, it was more like me marketing myself and my strains and my brand and things, where Discord is much more of like a community of just people chatting. And like Big Earl said, like each one of my strains has its own little page. So if you're interested in any specific one, you can go back and see all the people that have grown it and post pictures and talk about that specific strain. We have a medicinals category where it's all my CBD and CBG work. That was one I forgot to mention earlier when you were asking me about
Mm,
some of my newer work. I've made a whole new full CBD line of
hell
autos
yeah.
and a bunch of
Oh,
CBD dominant mixed ratios,
You're speaking my language.
and more.
Try to get some CBG in there and some CBC and some other ones in
Oh,
there
I
too, some
do.
THC. You do? Oh,
I
I
do
love
have
you.
I've had
I
several
love you.
CBG projects come out, and I've got more in the works, and I also have plans to do another full CBG auto.
Send some to Earl. I need
Yeah,
some of that.
yeah, no, I'm definitely sending some y'all's way for sure.
I love
if
it.
if you
Uh,
wanna take any, photos to Otto, we have some, like, 4 cannabinoid and maybe
Mm,
1 5 cannabinoid. Remember those
mm,
that we got?
would love that.
yeah, that's what
Um,
I'm saying from Seattle
from
Seed Chronic.
yeah, from
Okay,
Seattle.
before I know we still got a couple minutes left, so I'm gonna tell you about this strain. Okay, we don't know the name of it. That's the so we were just calling it the Seattle Chronic, and Seattle Seed Chronic is the maker of this strain.
Okay,
We've had him on the show a few times, and he is
He sent me
into.
plants, and one was unlabeled, or I didn't label it. When I was in my transplant, I ended up with a fucking plant that didn't have a name, but I
So we
knew
were
it
just
came
calling
from him.
We were just calling it the Seattle Chronic. And I
Okay.
tell you what, Alebrije, I have a nug and a half left of this, and I'm savoring it because it was the best overall. I had no pain in my body, and I have a lot of
Oh,
back
man.
pain. And I felt, and Mrs. Weedman too, she has a lot of pain. She has osteoporosis, and she felt no. She's like, what? I'm like, I'm telling you this. And Earl, I've been begging Earl. When Earl and I first met, what, like 5 years ago now, Earl?
Yeah,
6
long
years ago,
time.
5, 6
Only
years
9.
ago. I was sitting in his house for the first time. I was actually going to Michigan to sell some weed, and I stopped by his place on my way to my hotel, and he got me baked, and I couldn't leave his house for like 6 hours. But besides that point, we were talking about cannabinoids, and I said to him, Earl, if there's somebody out there that can bring back all the cannabinoids in that plant, high, not just THC. I love THC, but
Right.
I want it to be the way weed was back when I was like, when it was very low THC, 10%, 8%, and we didn't breed all those other cannabinoids out of there.
Yeah.
I want that.
That
That's the
is
strains that I want.
that is very much my mission and philosophy as well. That's
I
why
love
I
you.
work
I love you.
I love the mixed ratios. I love the mutant plants. I love the land races. I think they all have a place, and I think they all bring this genetic diversity and chemical diversity, which, yeah, the potential medical applications are unlimited. We don't know, and so I think it's very important to preserve this genetic diversity and do, especially as these, as we were just talking about, moving into the future. I think these genetics need to be in the hands of the people, and this is how I like to operate within the community. When someone mentions a plant like that, they're like, "Oh, this clone we got, it's sick." Like, those are the ones I want to jump on and convert into an autoflower because it's got something special, something unique.
Yeah,
Especially
that's
this.
all the medicine. That's what your body wants. Your body just doesn't want THC. I've talked about this on the other show so many times. I've had this conversation with so many people. People don't understand. We are training this plant to basically hurt us in the long run. I don't care what anybody fucking says out there. You can fucking chastise me all you want. We are training this plant now to hurt us. Our bodies, our CB1 and CB2 receptors in our endocannabinoid system, we're going to crush it when we're just feeding it 30% THC, taking fucking distillate at 95%.
Yeah.
Your body was not meant for that. It wasn't.
And
you're destroying this plant.
There are all these high limonene, high myrcene strains too that are, it's always hitting these same receptors.
Right. And I like myrcene. That's like one of my favorite terps, but I like a mixture of terps too.
Right.
I like a mixture of,
it's great to have some myrcene, but along with like an array of 30 others at various levels.
That's what I'm talking about. But when you have that ratio, because we all know, well, not everybody, but CBG is the mother of all cannabinoids. That's where every other cannabinoid comes from, okay? If we can get a CBG, which is great for digestion, great for inflammation, you can have some THCV in there if you need to hold back some food for a minute, you know what I'm saying? But you don't get the munchies. That's why people don't like weed as much, because they get the munchies. Well, that's why you put a little THCV in there. You have some CBC in there, which helps for brain function. But up here also helps for acne. Okay,
Totally.
and also all these cannabinoids I'm mentioning too are also good for inflammation and cancer fighting. So that's just but there's other additives and other bonuses, antidepressant, all this stuff. You have CBD, of course, great from the neck down, right? So it monitors your head up when you're taking too much THC. Plus there was all those other cannabinoids too, those other deltas too that they're so minute now that we discovered, delta 10, delta 9, that 8. Sorry, THC and delta 9 are one and the same. But you have all the other deltas too that have benefits, and it needs to be structured differently. Don't be fooled by the buzzwords, and don't be fooled by marketing. Don't be fooled by what profits and margins of trying to sell you high THC cells. Fuck you. Stop training us that way. Stop training the consumer that way. The people that love weed, all you're doing them is fucking their mind up in the long term. I'm sorry to say, you can chastise me all you want. I don't really give a shit. I'm telling you right now, people, breeders like Alebrije, all your traditional market breeders that I love and I smoke, they're doing it right. They're doing it right. You follow these folks out there. Who do we have on last? Queen of the sun goddess, sun-grown. Amazing. Yes, amazing what she's doing out there. You have to understand something, people out there. Look for these breeders that are doing it right and support them, because they are going to do it right for you. They have your back. They put their name on it. They're giving you their heart and soul of that plant because they care. And if you're not listening to me, I'm telling you, reach out to them and talk to them. They're willing to talk to you on their Discord. They're willing to answer questions. They're willing to show you pictures and help you out because it's their name, their logo. Alebrije Genetics is on his logo. He fucking does it right. Such great fucking marketing. It's a husband and wife team. That you got to get support, like Mrs. Weedman and I support local families. Big Earl and his wife. Don't you think he's the only one? She's fucking rules that roost. She's the best. I'm telling you though, support the family-owned businesses because that's what this country was founded on. Barter and trade, helping each other out. And I'm going to end on this. Okay? We need some fucking peace and love and fucking kindness right now in this world because if we don't get it right now, humanity's done. I'm sorry. We're going down a wormhole we can't come back from unless we have some peace, love, and kindness. Alebrije, you got anything else to say before we end?
I would second that for sure. Yeah, everybody just out there, remember throughout your day just to be positive. I think a positive mindset goes a long way, and that's another beautiful medicinal application of cannabis. Is it's not there's so many chemical applications, but just shifting that mindset to be a little more positive. And sometimes if you're feeling a little down or whatever, have a little puff, lift that mood, and just that alone is medicine just to be more positive. So
yeah,
we'll leave it on that.
Growing a plant in general, I feel like even if it's not something you consume, like a little fucking house, like having a little homie is so big for me.
That is the Big Earl. Is that your final thought of the show? We're starting something new here as the last show. Your final thought. What is it?
Sure. Yeah. Yourself a fucking plant. If you don't have a plant, you go get one.
That'll brighten your mood for sure.
It will.
If you can't grow weed, if you can't do that, you get a different plant. There's all kinds of plants out there. They do all kinds of shit.
Plants make you smile. Every time I look at mine, I smile. So everybody out there in the world, we love you. Have a great one. Peace, love, happiness. We love you out there. Peace.
Thanks, y'all. Peace.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.